Prewriting. Prewriting has been a popular approach to improve writing skills for more than 2 decades. Generally speaking, it enables one to plan and organize their ideas before they compose a first draft of their manuscript. It can take many forms, including brainstorming and free writing, that is, writing down all the ideas that come to mind in an unstructured manner, mind mapping, or creating associations between ideas, concept mapping, which assigns descriptive labels to associations between different ideas to form a loose structure, and argument mapping, which uses the coding scheme to clarify the structure of arguments and premises. While many digital pre-writing tools such as Draw.io seen here have been developed, most are designed for a desktop computer with a mouse and keyboard. This differs from the way that writers traditionally perform pre-writing, often by scribbling text using paper and pen spontaneously. Thus, we designed Inkplanner, a digital pre-writing tool built for pen and touch enabled tablets. Inkplanner uses intuitive pen and touch interaction to allow writers to jot down ideas, create connections, and erase thoughts in a manner that mimics the traditional pen and paper writing experience. Due to the digital nature of the ink, writers can resize and move content with ease in addition to many other innovative features. Inkplanner enables writers to brainstorm and free write, organize their ideas into a mind map, develop a deeper understanding of the ideas in a concept map, develop argument structures using argument mapping, create a structural organization of their arguments using a storyline, and automatically export a document outline that summarizes the entire pre-writing process for later use in a word processing program. To better understand how Inkplanner can be used, let's watch Mike. He is pre-writing his rebuttal to the Chi Reviews his VR-based sketching research project received. Yesterday, Mike jotted down a few quick ideas about how he can respond to the reviewer comments, but today he's really trying to get his rebuttal planned out. First, he looks through his ideas and realizes that quite a few will help him explain why he did not use a Kinect for tracking in his VR system. He then rearranges his ideas based on theme, creates connections between those that seem related, and annotates some of the connections with words like scalability and controller tracking to make the beginning stages of his arguments clearer. After working with his ideas for a while, he realizes that he might have a good argument built up, so he begins to assign argument annotations to his figure by drawing out from the connections and assigning argument types, making sure that he has crafted arguments that will satisfy the critiques he received. Mike feels pretty confident in his first argument, so he utilizes one of Inkplanner's novel features. The storyline allows him to sequentially organize his ideas in a structured format by dragging them onto the storyline and rearranging them as needed. The storyline is sequential so that those at the top should appear first in his rebuttal draft, followed by those that come underneath. Mike notices that a few of the ideas related to the benefits of the sketching interaction he implemented would make for a great opening paragraph, so he groups them, moves them to the top, and annotates the group to remind himself that they will be very important to include. While looking through the rest of the storyline, he finds that his initial thoughts about R3's comments may not be so kind, so he removes the content from the storyline by erasing it. Better to be respectful than irate the reviewer further. After working with the ordering of the storyline, Mike can't seem to figure out how to link the 2 arguments he has about why he didn't use the Kinect and why marker-based motion tracking is better. He then looks over at the diagram and decides to see if the semantic suggestions, which are curated from an underlying corpus of academic writing samples, may be able to help. He notices that one mentions Wiimote, which makes him think of occlusions, so he adds it to his diagram and begins to write other ideas to help him out. While looking over his storyline, Mike realizes that he keeps referring to sketching as drawing. Instead of deleting this text and losing all the connections he's made, he can simply cross out drawing and write sketching next to it. Because the diagram and storyline are linked, this simple action will perform an in-place replace and maintain the structural and organizational connections that he has already made. Mike now decides that he needs to beef up his justification for using 3 sketching tasks in his user study, but because his concept map is quite rich and full of detail, it's a bit difficult to find the content related to his user study. To do so, he can make use of the handy structural suggestions. These suggestions are generated using a text mining algorithm and allow him to quickly add existing content from the diagram on his storyline that is directly related to the text he's thinking about. Mike is finishing up his planning and remembers that one of the reviewers mentioned that Bolt's "put that there" would be worthwhile to reference in his paper. So he copies the reference from his rebuttal, switches to Inkplanner, and searches through his diagram to find all instances of references. The search results highlight all instances in his diagram so he can easily find the one he's looking for. He then pastes the reference next to the "to include" text he wrote. Once Mike is satisfied with his planning and feels like he has a good grasp on what he wants to say, he can export his planning and later use the automatically generated outline to keep working on his rebuttal in a word processing program later. To better understand how writers might use Inkplanner for pre-writing, we ran a user study. We recruited participants to complete pre-writing and writing sessions for a GRE analytical writing task. Details about the methodology and measures can be found in the paper,